Hey guys, welcome back to Werner Farms. So it's still light enough and I can do the video for you guys on the building. No, those aren't Legos. I did quote them that last time, or 2 videos ago, that these are Legos, but no, this is our radiant heat that we installed. So what we had to do was we had to get this all to grade, and you can kind of see if you look towards the drain. I'll kind of steady the camera a little bit, that it's sloped a little bit for the drain in the center there. So we had to get this 8.5 inches to grade, minus the center there, which is about a ½ inch, or no, an 1.5 inches deeper in the center. So we got it to grade the best we could, and then I went through and laid all the Crete heat panels, which are these I'm standing on, and then we laced the tubing through, which it is recommended that you go around the edge and we went over actually 8 feet. That's actually what the guy recommended. Go around the edge and then start working your way 1 foot away from each tube. So these are poly tubes. I believe they're ½ inch. Yeah, I believe they're ½ inch. ½ inch tubes. And there were 8 rolls, 300 foot long, or 300 feet in each tube. And as you can kind of see, it wasn't too bad. It was just a matter of trying to determine where each roll was going to run out. And so when you run out, you got to lace it all the way back. And I'll talk about the tubes over there in a second here. And when you go back, you'll have to go back up and fill in your gap and then resume where you left off then. So right here actually is going to be a sink, because this is going to be a little bit of a kitchen. So actually about right where I'm standing will be the wall well. Probably about here, I believe, will be the wall for the offices. So my office will actually be over here and Dad's would be over there. The offices are going to be 12 by 18. And over here, obviously, kitchen sink, like what I said, stove, fridge will be over here somewhere, kitchen cabinets and stuff like that. Our water line, toilet, sink. There will actually be a wall here. I don't know how far the wall will actually extend out. I think we were thinking about making it extend out past the door, which will be right here. Water heater will be in the back corner there, along with a closet. It will be inside the closet, so that the closet will be in the bathroom there. And about right where that black line is, probably right there, that will be where the wall is. And here's the conduit for the electric. We still have to run the electric yet. We're not too concerned about that. We can do that whenever we want. We can even do it when the building's up, so no big deal. So walking over to here, this is the guy actually called it a manifold that he sold with the N4 heat. I just like to call them uprights. So in the rear we have our ingoing tubing that goes into the floor, and then the front ones that are closest to me are the ones that are outgoings to go into the pump then, to be reheated and recirculated back into the floor. So if you go beyond 300 feet, obviously with the size of pump or heater that he recommended to heat the water, since this is water heated, you'll start losing heat in your tubes. That's why it's best to recycle them before you run out of roll, or before 300 feet ends, or at least right at 300 feet. Otherwise, you don't want to, it's not recommended to add a coupler onto them and keep going and hook two rolls together to keep going and do one continuous loop. So that's why there's different zones. So really, if we wanted to, we could have 8 different zones out here, but it wouldn't quite work. So we're gonna, I believe the way we laid it out right here, it'll actually end. Is this the one? It's actually this one. This will be the final zone. This one, all the way on over then, will be the garage zone. And from over here, this will be the office zone. So there'll be 2 zones. And he recommended that we had 3 feet of excess tubing here for him to deal with and work with when he hooks this all up. So the panel actually for the electric will actually be right here on the wall. So, and then there's the gas line also right there to hook up everything, since this will be run with natural gas. So as you can see, it's actually marked out, that orange line. Actually, I took the drone up and flew it because we actually wanted to make sure we remember in the future where we laid the gas line and the conduit for the electric. One thing we did screw up on though was we forgot to run tracer wire with the gas line, but it should be okay because we figure, since by mistake, by not doing it, as long as the gas line was run with the conduit, with the electric, which it was right beside it, about a foot apart, that should be fine, because it's more than likely we're going to not be dealing with this in the future at all. So, but just so happened, if we ever have to locate, it should be, which we will someday in the future, I know, we'll be able to still find it. But when we did trench this today, starting here, well, actually retrenched it yesterday from the meter, which I'll hop across here and walk back towards the meter. We did run tracer wire though, all the way back to the meter for the natural gas and up to the shed here. So the reason why we didn't dig this up, this is actually leading out to the main meter for the electric, which is back behind the dryer, back behind on the east side of the north bend. That's actually where our main comes in. So we didn't really want to dig this up. Actually, it comes up, I think, about right where that gray box is, I believe, just off on the right side of it. So we didn't want to dig it up, so we dug underneath of it once we found it, and dug underneath of it and laid the gas line underneath of it. So some of you guys are probably wondering why we dug it so deep on this side and not as deep over there. This over here is dug at about, I would say, at least 4 feet. And the reason being is because Dad actually called Hochstettlers, which is, I believe they're located over in Napanee area, Napanee, Indiana area. And they are the ones who we deal with on putting up Brock grain bins, and actually who was the ones who actually built our grain setup. We actually went through and spec'd out our whole grain setup, and they worked with us on putting the grain setup up. So Dad actually called them. I didn't realize this till he told me yesterday about what would it be if we were to put a foundation. Now, we're not doing this, but this is just for future plans, to put a foundation on for a bin, because in the future, obviously, we are going to be putting a grain bin about where the 4430 is sitting, and that would actually be picking up this bin and setting it over there, this south bin, and putting actually, I figured we'd put about a 50 or 52 foot bin up. Actually, Dad's thinking of just going off with a 60 foot someday, which I figured that'd be really nice for corn, and have the north bin and what we would call now the middle bin, that future 60 foot middle bin someday for corn, and then use this bin. Obviously, we would add more rings to it to increase its capacity. I believe this is at, don't quote me, 28,000-ish, maybe even 30. I don't remember offhand for this one. I know the north bin's 42, so I don't know how tall we would go for the 60 foot bin, but you would have, for foundation purposes for concrete, they said you would need a foundation of 2 foot for concrete for bins. So the concrete would be 2 foot in the ground. So that's why we went 4 feet at least with the gas line. That way we won't have a problem at all with the gas line at all in the future. So that'll be nice. But someday, 60-foot grain bin, and this bin will be moved over there on the foundation. And then when we put up, obviously, the new bin in the future, which that'd be a few years at least down the line, obviously that new bin will be on a foundation also, because I want to put a in-floor auger or sweep auger, obviously, like what the north bin has. That'd be really nice to have, instead of having to deal with the sweep auger, which is actually still in the south bin. We got to get that cleaned out. So the reason why we teed off here to go to the shed, obviously, is what I mentioned a little bit before about putting in-floor heat in the shop. So we actually teed. You can barely see the coupling there on the hose. It's kind of buried up with dirt, but we actually teed that off today. We dug this today and trenched underneath the line again, because we had to trench under it again just because of the way it runs. And we have the upright stuck over there. Now we're going to keep it covered with PVC, and we have a shut-off valve on it, obviously. So when we turn on the gas, we don't have a problem with gas leaks or anything. And I don't know when we're going to plumb this in here, but if I go back in the shop, we have the LB White in there, and it's run on propane, which the propane tank is actually, you can barely see it if you look at that the Progressive Farmer DTN dish, which is run right up into there for the DTN. You can barely see it's right there. That's just for the LB White. So we have a minimum that we can barely use, because with the natural gas, we only use it for the dryer, and now for the in-floor heat, but we're barely still going to be using our minimum. So we're going to convert probably the LB White over some point, maybe this winter, I don't know, over to natural gas. And someday, the rest of the shed will actually be a shop, and this whole building will be nothing but concrete floor and have in-floor heat in it. But I don't know if we're actually going to someday tear this floor up and actually put in-floor heat in, because honestly, with the LB White in here, it's not really that big of a deal. So, but the future portion that will be concrete will have in-floor heat in it. That's why the in-floor heat will actually or the gas line will actually come up about right where that 4-way electric outlet is. Well, actually, probably about right where that gray filing cabinet's right at the very back of it, right there, right between the 2 windows there. So, but yeah, definitely the LB White will be converted over to natural gas at some point with that, and someday in-floor heat in the rest of the building. So that'll be nice. Concrete, that will be poured hopefully the first part of next week. And I know Monday's Labor Day, so I got my doubts on Tuesday, hopefully Wednesday. Definitely got my fingers crossed though on Thursday. So once that's done, well, actually we're pretty much done with the building. So at least for now, all we got to do is just have our concrete guy come out and do the concrete. And once that's done, we're done till fall, or till after harvest, I should say. The reason being is because we're not going to have time to furnish it. And noticing in the area, I mean, I know a few of you guys are talking about the corn just around the farm. That's not our corn. Again, I keep saying that. That's not our field. We used to farm it. Long story, we don't. Yeah, that's actually coming along pretty quick. There's a few fields of our neighbors that's actually, I wouldn't be surprised, it's down to 21%, ready to go. Brown from top to bottom, ears dropped. They could go pick it right now if they wanted to. There's a couple fields just west of here that the neighbors claim that they could pick this week, actually, or well, next week. I don't know if they'll actually start picking or not. Possibly, I wouldn't be surprised. But there's not really an incentive to with the price, but I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell on what prices are going to do at this point. So any of our stuff close to being ready? No. We're actually running irrigators in some of our corn, actually, just because it just help it finish, dry down, and get it going. So, and get the grain fill done. So beans are just starting to turn, and that's just on the blow sand. So we're gonna be, I would say we're gonna be a little bit behind compared to everybody else, but I feel it's gonna be just about normal for us. So, well, normal for the area, really. I think a few guys in the area are actually going to be starting a lot earlier than what we normally do in this area. So with that harvest, it's going to be kind of mixed in the area. A little bit early and a little bit normal, some of it a little bit late. So, well, otherwise, that's pretty much it what I got for you guys for the video, or for the building update. Tomorrow, 8530 will get its duals put on, more than likely, and the 4630 get its duals off for the mower. So, and that's pretty much it, I would say, what's going on, except from here on, it's harvest prep. So, otherwise, I guess I'll talk to you guys later, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and follow me on Instagram and Snapchat, and I'll catch you guys in the next video then.